Atari Nelly here. This is the Chat with Nelly podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know. I must sing by welcome because, you're the real MVP. If this is your first listen, thank you so much for trying out. I hope that this is what you're well. If this is not your first listen, my guy, how you doing? Welcome back. We have established in our previous episodes that for a while on the podcast, we're going to be looking at friendships in various dimensions. And I really hope that this ticket that you've bought, one-way ticket to Friendship Town, you really do enjoy the train ride. Welcome again. Today, we're going to be looking at friendship, in another light. We have looked at friendship as per friendship with yourself. So today we're going to be looking at it with addiction. Yes, I know I mentioned addiction. It's a very dicey topic. And when I thought about talking about this, I was like, are you sure you want to go in that murky waters? But we're here, so we might as well just do it. So today we're going to be looking at friendship and addiction. It is not news that friendship is not always like very rosy. There are times where you are there for the celebrations, you're there for the picnics and the birthdays and the new job or the new car or new baby. But then there are days that you also have to be there for other things that may not be so positive. And addiction is one of them. It's usually not always laughter and good times with friendship. And it is important that we understand that friendship also comes with standing by the person that you've chosen to be your friend. That is what being a friend is. It is good and bad times together. So addiction is one thing that we see and you're like, oh yeah, this is a bad time. And I don't know if you believe that too, that friendship and community is one thing that can help someone overcome an addiction. So, before we dive right in, I'm going to give a personal experience because, it always resonates better when you're speaking from something that you've experienced. Mine is not like an addiction per se, though when we decide to define addiction, we'll see that it's not usually only just drugs. Because most times when we mention addiction, people just think, oh, people that are alcoholics or people who smoke, or porn. But there are other dimensions to addiction that we may not even know. So mine was, because I want to believe that I've overcome it, is I had the bad habit of eating my nails. I know. Don't judge me. He's not. Don't judge me, because that's part of what we're going to see later. But yeah, I used to eat my nails. My mom had talked. My brother had talked. My brother would always chastise me. I think that was the only thing he used to say. Sister Nelly, this thing you're doing is not good. And I knew that it was not good, but it was a habit. And when we start to do something for the first time, it may seem like normal. But then when they become habits, my dad would say they become really strong wires. Wires I used to wire a house when you're building. Yes, they become really hard to come off from. So yeah, I used to eat my nails. But then a friend of mine noticed, right? And she's just like, oh, okay, why not use nail polish? Right? And I know it seemed like a very simple suggestion, but it actually worked. So anytime that I felt like I was going back to do my nails, maybe because I was anxious or I was not meeting a deadline or I was reading and then maybe I was tired, so I needed to do something else and I wanted to chew on my nails, I would remember that, okay, she said I should use nail polish. So immediately the next day or the next hair appointment that I have, I'm putting polish on my nails. And that would help. At least for months, I will not chew my nails or chew on my nails rather. And that would help. I recently had to go back to put in nail polish because I had exams coming, and so anxiety can usually come when there's lots of exams to do. So I had to put nail polish on my nails again. And I'm looking at my nails now, they're grown, I'm not eating them. So that is one way. I just used that example to show that a friend noticed that I was having a bad habit or struggling with a bad habit, and then she gave a suggestion, and it worked. So this is why I want to tie friendship and addiction or bad habits, because I believe that when you're struggling and someone decides to join your struggle and help, there will be improvement. We just do not maximize it enough. So we are going to see what addiction is now. It's a state in which a person has an uncontrollable urge, to do, to say, to think, or use something, like to do something, to think something, to use something, to eat something, like just an uncontrollable urge that you cannot control, right? Uncontrollable means you can't control it. So it could be substance abuse, right? It can be drugs, hard drugs. It can be alcohol or coffee. But then it can also be just tiny little bad habits that we overlook. It can be that, like I just mentioned now, I used to chew on my nails a lot. And I mentioned that people had spoken about it. But then a friend gave me that suggestion of nail polish and it worked. So it is important to see that when we try our best to work on addiction ourselves, sometimes it can be effective because, of course, we cannot take away the importance of the person who is fighting that addiction or bad habit to accept that, okay, I have a problem, and then decide that, yes, I want to work on it. But then what we are looking at today on the episode is how external influence from friends can help with addiction, because addiction is something that I know I would always bring Jesus into it because, he's my father, right? But there's a spirit behind every addiction. It's just something that we have to accept. So it's not something that you can just fight off by yourself, by your own power. So you need all the help that you can get. So it is important to remember this. How does addiction work, right? The brain reward system, which is like the dopamine pathway. I'm sorry that I want to now speak, some health terms, but just follow me, right? We're going somewhere. Now, the brain has a reward system and we call it the dopamine pathway, right? When we get addicted to something, that dopamine pathway gets hijacked. Normally, dopamine, motivates us to repeat healthy activities, eating healthy, maybe listening to music, or maybe when we're with friends, there's like dopamine release. So you're happy, you're joyful, you're excited. It's pretty normal because it's part of the human system, right? However, with addiction, what happens is that the trigger gets stronger. And then over time, your self-control weakens, right? Tolerance happens because so you're doing it over and over and over and over again. It's just like when you have cake. If you eat cake over and over and over and over again for like straight 1-2 weeks, you'll be tired of the cake, right? And then for you to now feel any joy or excitement from eating that cake, it might mean that that cake has to be coming from the best chef from France. So maybe the person is bringing it because now you're already used to normal cake. So something has to, like the cake has to be really, really extra for you to want to eat cake even after eating it after 2 weeks. I don't know if this makes sense, right? So tolerance comes, and so you now need like higher portions of whatever has been giving you that joy. So that's what happens. So when you're taking drugs, you take a small dose the first time, it feels fine. Over time, you now see yourself wanting higher doses of that particular drug. Or maybe you take 1 bottle of beer, right? Or spirit, whatever alcohol it is, right? At first, it might feel fine. But then maybe that dopamine reward that you used to get with 1 bottle becomes 2, 3, or 10 glasses. And then before you know, you need like 2 full bottles of vodka to feel that good feeling that people feel with alcohol. So that's what happens. The brain gets used to it, and then tolerance occurs. And then there's this need for more. That's what happens with addiction. So whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, whether it's porn, right? Porn. I'm mentioning these three things because I think that this is what people struggle most with. Though there are other things, like I said, bad habits could be addiction too, right? When you have to eat a lot of things to feel better. Some people have this eating disorder where when they're upset, they have to eat. And then with that, you can get obese because most times people call it comfort foods. So there's cake, there's ice cream, there's chocolate, all of these things that can actually make you add a lot of weight in a very short period of time. So you see that with addiction, it's like a level of more problems because when you get addicted to alcohol, your liver is crying. Your liver is literally shedding tears because you're stressing it. The liver works by helping us to one of the functions of the liver is it helps to detoxify, your body. So when you're taking alcohol a whole lot of times, your liver is like working overtime to help you detoxify. After a while, body is not firewood. According to, Niger Pigeon, body will be firewood. It will get tired and then there'll be problems with your liver. And when there's problem with your liver, nothing is helping you detoxify anything. And these things will stay in your body, right? With smoking, your lungs are hurting, they're crying. And your lungs help you with your respiration and circulation and all of that. If there's a problem, then you have a problem with breathing and having your heart work and all of that. So you see that addiction is like the bad habit or that thing you're addicted to is like a layer. There's always a higher problem that comes with whatever addiction, whatever you want to look at it from. If it's porn you're looking at, yes, and we'll say, oh, okay, there's sexual pleasure and all of that. But these things go deeper. We see people, right? I don't know, married people might be listening to this. People who are married, yet because of how much they had given themselves to porn, they're not like satisfied with their partner anymore. So they may now have to like step out of their marriage to feel that dopamine reward. Remember that I said that the brain has a reward system. So when you're addicted to something, you have to get higher doses to feel that same thing. So yes, I hope that we've established, what addiction is. But we want to tie it now to friendship, right? Ecclesiastes 4 verse 9 to 10, talks about how two is better than one. For when one falls, the other will lift him up. That is the heartbeat of today's conversation. Yes, one might have made a mistake to get addicted. One might have made a mistake to get used to a bad habit. But as friends, friendship is meant to help one another. If one is falling, the other will help. That's what friendship is, right? One can do something. The Bible says one can break 1,000. Well, two can cover 10,000. So there's no how you want to look at it that friendship is not a good thing to help fight addiction. How do you know that someone is addicted to something? There could be restlessness when the person hasn't done, used, said, or thought that thing, right? There could be anxiety. There could be neglecting responsibilities, both maybe at work, even personal hygiene. They just like zone out from the world. Addiction isolates, right? But friendship helps to pull back into the light. Friendship brings accountability. Friendship brings encouragement. You're able to pray with this person because you're friends, right? And it is very vital that we do not walk this path. We do not walk this part of the world alone. First, we should have God at our front and back and side and corner, but then we should have people that stand by us. It's a beautiful thing when you have a problem and you know that you can call somebody. Like, you don't have to die in silence. You know that, okay, if I call Cynthia today, she'll be there with me. Like, even if it's to cry on the phone, I have had a friend call me and all she was doing was crying, right? And then I tried her to cry. It was like cry therapy. After I finished crying for like 10 minutes. I'm serious, right? She was like, Nelly, wait, I actually do feel better. I was like, okay, can we breathe now? We've cried, but can we breathe now? Can we not actually talk about the problem? Right? So she was able to call me because she knew I was there. And that's the importance of friendship. Imagine she had to cry all by herself. She'd be wallowing in the problem, wallowing in the pain. And this is how, isolation begins, depression comes in, and somebody is feeling like you're lost in the world because you're alone. Loneliness is a very bad thing, I'm telling you, because man was not built to be alone at all. He wasn't built to be alone. So please don't be alone. And how can friendship help addiction? Because we've been talking about addiction, right? We said someone can be addicted to alcohol, to drugs, to cigarettes, to porn. You can have a bad habit that you're not able to stop, like chewing on your nails, maybe eating disorders. What other bad habits are there? I'm trying to think. Forgive me. Maybe clubbing. Some people are addicted to clubbing and they always have to go to the club. Not that that's what I want to talk about because that's some people's lifestyle, but just anything that you have uncontrollable urge for, right? That makes it hard for you to not do other things. Now, I'm not saying that, when you have the urge to always have your environment clean, or you have the urge to like meet deadlines, that's not what we're talking about now. We're talking about negative addiction that takes a toll on your health, on your mental health, or your physical health, on your emotional health. That's what we're referring to. Now, as a friend, how can you help another friend going through addiction or trying to break free from a bad habit? You have to promote accountability. That's the number one thing. So you have to make sure that you create a safe space for this person to speak. Let them be able to trust you, that they can speak to you. And you know that you build trust over time, right? So maybe they might have told you something in the past, that you were able to keep within the confines of your friendship, being able to listen without judgment. That's a very hard thing to do sometimes. Remember when I said, I chew my nails? I was like, no, don't judge me because I know, you'd be like, why would you be chewing your nails like that? That's a bad habit, right? So it's easy for us to just judge people. But as a friend who is trying to help another friend going through addiction or come out of addiction, you have to try to learn how to listen without judgment. So it could be that while the person is speaking, you do not interrupt. You listen attentively. You're not on your phone, you're not looking elsewhere. You're giving them eye contact and they understand that, okay, this person is listening to me. And then when you want to speak, you do not speak from a place of, I'm not going through this, I'm better than you. You speak from the place of, okay, this is happening. Yes, people make mistakes, but what are we going to do to fix it? Okay, don't start by saying, I'm so ashamed of you. I'm disappointed. Those kind of words will make them recoil back into their shell, or him or her to recoil back into his or her shell and not want to speak again. Remember that addiction causes isolation. So as a friend trying to break someone out from addiction, you're trying to pull them out from that isolation that they may be feeling and tell them that, I'm here to hold your hand. So speaking with judgment would just make them run back into that isolating mode rather. Right, so number one, promote accountability by listening without judgment. Number two is offer practical help and support. Genuine practical help and support. So it could mean checking in on them. If you've been able to convince them to go for therapy, you accompany them to therapy. Then remembering to pray with them. We cannot really take God out of this because, like I said before, addictions come with spirits behind them. So yes, we need to fight, both physically and spiritually. So as a friend, please be willing to pray with them. Be willing to remind them who they are in Christ. Be willing to let them know that God loves them regardless, because it's the truth. God loves them regardless of whatever mistakes that they're having. Whatever mistake it seems like they are going through, God loves them regardless. When Jesus was still walking yet, the Pharisees and the Sadducees always complained that he was with people that seemed like they were not on his level, because they felt, these people are filthy, they sin, and you say you're the Son of God. Why are you mingling yourself with them? And he said that the Son of Man did not come for those who are healthy, he came for those who are sick. And if you want to relate it here, addiction is some sort of, ill health, because something is stopping you. And that's why Jesus came. So yes, remember to pray with them. That's a practical support. Praying with them and for them, that's a practical support. Wanting to check in on them genuinely, just to remind them that you're there. So when they want to slip into that, oh no, I'm alone. Oh no, I'm no good, or I don't deserve to, have help, because I've tried to come out of this over and over again. Because sometimes that's the pattern for people who are trying to break off addiction. They try, they flip and fall back like that. But then friendship would stick and stay. I'll give you an example. If my friend hears that I'm saying this, he's gonna bite me. But I think a month ago, so my friend complained and told me that he was having this like really bad headaches, right? And I was like, oh, okay, we talked, and then we realized that when he checked his blood pressure, it was low. And I was like, okay, please, low blood pressure is not something that we should play with. Can we go and check it again? And he said, okay, yes, I will. 1 week later, he has not. 1 month later, he has not. And then I got frustrated. So I did not ask for like a week or so. And then he came to my DM and was like, Nelly, did you like abandon me? I was like, what do you mean? I don't understand. I literally was busy that week. But after a month of me asking and probing and telling and speaking, I got tired. So in my head, I'd already said, I was not going to ask him again. Like whatever he wants to do, should do, because it felt like I was bothering him. But then he came into my DM after that 1 week. I was like, Nelly, did you abandon me? I was like, what do you mean? I was like, you've not asked about this thing. I was like, I've been asking. I've turned to broken record. I was asking every time, and he would give me one excuse or the other. So I was like, okay, fine, do whatever you like. So it wasn't like, so you're just going to let me be like that? When he asked me that question, in the moment, right, I was arguing. I was like, boy, it was frustrating. No, like, I was asking you and telling you because I was genuinely worried and you did not check. So what am I supposed to do from here? I'm not with you there. I can't drag you by the hand or say, go to the pharmacy or go to the hospital to check it up. So, but he was like, but then that doesn't mean you should abandon me. So in that moment, when he said that, I realized that, okay, this is what actually friendship is about. I'm not supposed to let go. So it's possible that I'm speaking here and you're like, okay, but I've been trying to help my friend get out of this bad habit or this addiction. And it seems like the person is just relapsing and relapsing. Well, me, I'm tired. Please don't be tired. So much so that I can tell you that my friend, he still has not checked, even up to yesterday. Though he has promised that, okay, before the end of the month, he'll go and check. Right? But then I had to put in checks and be like, okay, please, no, I don't want end of the month. Give me a date. I asked for a date so that I can make him accountable for that date and he will follow it through, right? That's what friendship is about. Did I get frustrated? Yes. But did I realize that, okay, he's my friend and I really want him to be healthy. I don't want to get a call one day and say, this happened. No. So I'm trying my best to make sure that I make him go to the hospital to have his fitness checked so that we can make sure that the blood pressure is up back and not low. So that's what friendship is about. And that's what addiction is about right now. Trying your best to be there for the person because we don't want this person who is fighting a bad habit to make a mistake. Okay, so yes, to avoid them making, mistakes. Also, remember that you can also help them to avoid triggers. This is like someone who is fighting addiction of alcohol. It means that you have to somehow make them remove every kind of alcohol from their fridge in their house. Take away corkscrews so that they don't have something to open the bottle of wine. If it is cigarettes, take away cigarettes. Usually, it's better to start in small bits. So if someone is addicted, instead of maybe this person is going to smoke a pack for a whole day, you can say, okay, how about we do half a pack for today, right? So little by little, person gets cut off from the usual, then, maybe just offering other healthy activities that they can do, maybe go for a walk or or a picnic, go to the park, just sober activities that help them not remember this thing that they are fighting, especially for those who are going through addiction with drugs or substance abuse or porn. With porn, I don't know, maybe on your TikTok account, change what you have. Don't have any sensual content, right? On your Instagram, change who you are following so you don't see anything that would trigger. Because most times what triggers is this: maybe you see a sensual video, or some kind of dressing, or you watch some kind of movie. So if you're fighting addiction to porn, maybe you should stay off movies that have all of these sensual scenes that take a long time, or that they dwell on that particular scene. You have to not watch these things. This is you have to know your triggers to be able to avoid them, right? And then also, as a friend, you need to stay involved in their recovery. Stay involved in their recovery. Don't let them go. Like, don't say, oh, okay, I've helped them, I've taken them, I've told them what to do, and then you just leave them. Most times, people who are fighting off a bad habit or fighting off addiction, they need constant check-ins. Like, they can't be left alone until they are strong on their feet. Because that moment when they are alone, the devil is a very bad person. The mind plays games on them, and then they start seeing things that would remind them of what they are trying to not do. And if you're not like constantly checking in, they could relapse. Even with constant check-ins, they have persons who relapse, right? But with that non-stop checking, it could help. There are people who have gone through addiction and they've come out. And one thing that they will tell you is that, oh, I had support. That's why I'm saying that friendships are in a way intertwined with addiction. You have to be there to support them so they remember that they're not alone. Healthy relationships are important. They're an important part of addiction recovery because they provide support for this person. There's efforts in achieving and maintaining abstinence when there's another person holding your hand. It's just the way where you want to achieve a goal and then you have a partner that is keeping you accountable. It helps because somehow the mind, the ego will not want to be the person that is failing, right? So because you have to give account to somebody, you just want to try and do your best. But when it's just you be like, I'll do it tomorrow. Okay, no, I'll start tomorrow. I'll start the process tomorrow, right? You just procrastinate and not do the thing. But if you have somebody in your life, especially a mentor, in terms of goals, it helps. Actually, it helps. So, are you that kind of friend who will notice when someone is silently struggling? Because sometimes, that's why I say friendship is not just about the content you make on TikTok or, going to the restaurant together or having birthdays. Do you know this person? Remember when we said who a friend is someone that you thoroughly know, right? Not just an acquaintance, not a person on the road, not a neighbor, someone you know. So as a friend, you should be able to notice when your friend is not themselves, when they are like doing stuff that don't add up. You need to be able to silently notice that they're struggling with something and then you step in. Are you that kind of friend, right? Do you hold up your friend's hand when they are in trouble? Or you're the ones that just, you blame them, you shun them, and then you turn your back? Are you that kind of friend? What kind of friend are you in that particular order? So finally, before I drop the mic, I would like to say also that if you're listening to this and you are struggling with addiction yourself, how can you help yourself? Number one is to decide that that's a problem and you want to quit. That's just the first thing. You have to accept that that's a problem. And then set a quit date. It might sound really normal or ordinary and be like, it won't work. But set a quit date. Decide that, okay, by this time next year, I do not want to be fighting this problem. Just put it in a corner or write it in your journal. Journaling is one thing that helps, right? Write it in your journal, write it in a book, put it on a sticky note and put it on your mirror. Something that you'll be able to be seeing every single time, right? So set a quit date for yourself. That's one. Change your company or environment. If the people you're keeping as friends, so to say, are the people fueling this addiction for you. Please change your friends, right? Life is more than pleasing people over yourself. You have to put yourself first and make sure that you're healthy enough, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Sometimes mental illness, not schizophrenia or people walking on the road who are speaking to themselves, please. I mean, when you're not mentally fully fine, or you have like anything disturbing your mental health, it even affects your physical health because it's all intertwined. Same with emotional health. So please, if your environment is influencing, please try and change it. If you cannot change it, change the company that you keep. That way you shut out the external stimuli that is bringing it into your life, right? Distract yourself, take a walk, do other activities, journal. Journaling helps a lot. Listen to messages on your phone. You can decide to stay on social media for a while if that's what's triggering. Don't buy data for a while so you don't have to go on the porn site. It might be hard. Like, I'm saying this, and it doesn't mean that, once you do it once, it's going to be okay. Remember that I said for addiction, it helps when you cut it down slowly. Like, not just doing, I'm not doing it again. Like, slowly, if you used to watch porn for like 3 hours, you can decide that, okay, I want to do 2 hours. I want to do 2 hours, 30 minutes, like that. It might seem like not a good advice, but it works. Cutting it out slowly helps you, because when you see that you can do 2 hours, 30 minutes, it means that you can do 1 hour. It means that you can do 30 minutes. It means you can do 10 minutes. And it means that one day you will not need to watch it. Right? And then review your past attempts at quitting and sincerely find out what went wrong. What was the thing? Like, you were on the right track, something made you go back. So what was that thing? And then you'll be able to learn lessons and pick up from there. Also, hold on to your support network, please. Sometimes as a person who's going through addiction, it might just be easier to say, please leave me alone, and then you shut everybody out. But no, please, you need people, right? So if you have friends who are holding your hands, congratulations. Please do not shut them out. Allow them help you. Jeremiah 33 verse 6 says, behold, I will bring it help and cure, and I will cure them, and will reveal unto them the abundance of peace and truth. So please believe in the fact that God can help you. Go to God in prayers. He would help you fight it out. It's not something that will happen in a day, but it will help you constantly. And I would like to say something. When you decide to drop a bad habit, the urge becomes stronger. I don't know why life is like that. I don't know the schematics. I don't know the schematics for that. But when you decide that you want to stop something that is bad, the urge to do it gets stronger. But please move past that particular urge and continue to want to do better. And you would see that it is something that you can do. The Lord loves you despite every of these things, whatever mistakes you've made, and He's always there. All you have to do is just ask for His help and believe that He would help you. Your faith has to be in action, and He will help you. So yes, what have we said today? We've said that friendships are important in fighting off addiction because they remove the label of loneliness that addiction brings. They remove the label of isolation that addiction brings, and then you'll be able to move past it and hold these people's hands, your friends' hands, and walk past the door of addiction. That's why you see that in the more developed world, there are lots of support groups. It's not because they are crazy or they like to be in their companies, because they understand the importance and the effectiveness of having people who are struggling in the same thing with you walk through it together. That's what support groups do. People going through that particular thing come together and share their struggles, share their relapses, and they see how they can be better and do better for the next day, the next week, the next month, the next year. So yes, thank you very much. This is still Chat with Nelly podcast, where we take a one conversation at a time. I hope that this has been worth your while. Thank you so much for listening. Again, I am Atari Nelly, your host. Thank you.